Hey guys, what's up? Nicole here, and I am on my way to the airport. And so I wanted to hop on. I just did an Instagram video. I had to hop on over here on Facebook, and I was just talking to my client, and I was also talking on Instagram about why, social media has changed the game and why video is producing more and more money, right? More and more money. There's just an issue right now with a lot of us folks who are running companies and businesses, and we see this new emerging trend of video, right? It's like, oh my God, do I really have to do that? Do I really have to be on? And so I wanted to hop on really quick and talk about why video is so critical and how to make just a tremendous amount of more income for you and your business, and why it's like there's certain things that you will have to do to turn on. You got to know when to turn it on so that you can get your business out there. Now, this has been a conversation with me and several of my clients. A lot of my clients are higher end clients, right? They are super successful individuals who have paid their dues, and they're pretty humble. Like, they had a season in their life where they don't feel like they have anything to prove, and so they don't have a desire to be on all the time, right? It's like, I don't feel like having to put on makeup all the time, have my camera on all the time, and show people what I'm eating, and show people where I'm going, and they don't want to do that. But depending upon your business model, if you're not doing it, you better find somebody who is. Why? Because we are in the age of the micro influencer, and people want to be a part of your everyday life. I was just sharing on Instagram, Tamron, on the Tamron show, she had on there a lady. This lady, y'all, has a YouTube channel where all she does is she has her video props set up, and it shows her cleaning her house. And this chick makes like 6 figures a month, I think, was the storyline. I may be mistaken, but 6 figures. I know she makes well over 6 figures a year. I think maybe 7 figures a year with people watching her clean her house. Watching her, they just want to sit there and watch her clean her house. Then I know another young lady who's, I don't know if she's a 7-figure earner yet. She's super smart, sharp girl. She comes from the online space as well. But every night she sets her camera up and people watch her go through her night routine of washing and moisturizing her face. What is that? But people want to see your life behind the scenes. When you look at what social media has done in this day and age, it's given people an opportunity to come into your life and into your world, and they want to experience. Like, okay, I'm in the car with the driver, right? So there goes Mr. Bernard. Wave, Mr. Bernard, say hi, right?
How you doing?
He said, "How y'all doing?" Right? So here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. When somebody is turning on and looking at your video, you got to think about the scenario of where they're at. So somebody right now, one of y'all might be sitting in your office, in your cubicle, dreaming of a better life and wishing that you can find an alternative way to do something different. And you turn on Facebook and you see, my video, and I have a driver taking me to the airport, right? Sounds super amazing for me, but this is not my driver. This is my client's driver, right? Her life, right? Sounds real fancy for me, but her life, she has a driver, right? She has this absolutely amazing, wonderful life that she spent 25 years building. And what has happened is she is very humble about it. She looks at this as her normal, right? Having someone who is amazing like Mr. Bernard to handle the transportation so she can handle phone calls, and she can handle this, and she can handle that. I remember being a kid and I used to tell my mother, I want a chef, a maid, a driver, and a nanny, right? I didn't know how that stuff would happen. My mother, I used to think only super rich people can have that. But guess what? Now, because of things like Uber and Lyft and, different things, a lot of us are able to experience this transition into having someone else driving for you. So it's become the norm, right? There are things that are transpiring that are allowing the things that we desired as kids to come into our life. But there's a whole audience of people that they still are dreaming that and don't, they haven't seen it before. They don't know it exists, right? They might be watching us from a different country or watching, and it's inspiring to them to see someone have a driver. It's inspiring for them to see someone actually at home during the day and not at a job or not in a cubicle, right? It's inspiring for them to see that, you know, someone has their own office and the setup in there, they have their own studio or whatever. It's like whatever is going on in your world, someone somewhere is praying for it, and them getting an opportunity to get access to see it and to witness it is like a dream, right? Because I take for granted, you may assume that your life has to be perfect and you have to have all this stuff, but I take for granted that I'm home every day. Like, my kids have never seen me go to a job, right? Like, I have to get them to understand that mommy does work, just because what I do doesn't look like work, right? So I've taken for granted that there's a world of people out there that don't know how to transition to work from home and how to transition to you know, replace their salaries and be able to homeschool their kids and all these different things. So this whole social media era is become so critical, because there are things that you're experiencing in your life on a day-to-day basis that people are praying for and dreaming about, and they want to know what it looks like. You know, what does it look like to be you? What does it look like to do the things that you do? What are you? And I remember when I was first getting started online, and the person who I got introduced to was Tracy Walker. You guys may know her. She's one of my best friends now. And I remember I found her on YouTube, and I would watch everything she did, every video she put out, every webinar she did. I was on her webinar, everything she sold, I bought. And I remember she used to spend Saturdays doing webinars with us, right? We'd be on webinar for like 3 and 4 hours with her, because we had to learn HTML back then. You didn't have all these new software tools to make it real easy to build a website. And I remember one time she did a webinar, and she was on her computer screen, and she had a schedule open on her computer screen. So it just so happened to be open, and while she was navigating around on the webinar, that little screen popped up, and it was a structured map of what her schedule was on a weekly basis. Now, I'm somebody who, I'm a spontaneous personality. I'm not a structured personality, right? I'm a creative. So I didn't know what your life is supposed to look like as an entrepreneur. What does it look like to have a schedule? What is the structure? Like, how do you manage your day? Like, I didn't know what that looked like. I would just be winging it. And I remember being on the webinar and raising my hand and like screaming for her to not just glaze over that calendar. She was talking about HTML and building a website. And I was like, wait. Can you go back to your schedule? Like, what is that? What is that? And I remember her taking the time out to walk us through the schedule and say, oh, this is my DMO, my daily method of operation. I had never heard that before. I'm like, a DMO, what is that? And she was like, this is how I run my business. I have a designated time for all of my activities, and this is how I schedule them out. Because she had it all color coordinated, and she was explaining to us how to batch things. So when you're shooting video, instead of trying to shoot a video every day, you batch your videos and do all 5 of. If you're going to do a video 5 times a week, you batch them and you do them. She was like, every Monday I'll shoot all my videos up until next week, whatever. But it showed me something. I wanted to know what her behind the scenes looked like, because a lot of times, y'all, we see people having all this success, but we're like, well, what did it take to get to that level of success? You know, what time do you wake up in the morning? What is your morning routine like? What are the first things that you do when you get out of bed? Do you get dressed first thing in the morning when you work from home? Or do you stay in your pajamas all day? Like most people try to give you the image, I work in my pajamas. Or do you put your clothes on and get ready for the day? Do you put on makeup first thing in the morning? Or do you know what I mean? Do you go to the gym? What are you eating for breakfast, right? Like you have you're so healthy and you're in shape. So what kind of breakfast do you eat in the morning? Right? Are you eating cinnamon rolls and bacon? Or are you drinking green juice? And like, those things matter. So a lot of times, if you're building a business and you are wanting to make a connection with your audience, they want to know you're behind the scenes. And that's what this whole social media, camera, live streaming is doing. And that's why people are making all this dang on money, because they're giving people instant access to their life. People get a chance to see what their living room look like or what the bedroom look like. People get a chance to see how they interact with their kids. People want that. Like, it's like everybody has their own reality show. And so I know for me, it is often laborious to get on now, because I feel like my life is not that exciting, right? But if there is a desire to connect with your audience, you do have to have check-in points. You have to understand that this is what people are going to buy from. This is the age of the micro influencer. And I was saying on Instagram, I said that's why companies like Macy's and Sears and, you know, all these different corporations are going out of business, because people are no longer connecting with corporations and commercials and celebrity endorsements. They are connecting with real practical people who are micro influencers that look like them, that they can relate to, that if I hop on here and I say, you know, hey guys, I just bought this lipstick from you know, certified makeup, whatever, people are gonna be like, okay, where do I go? Certified makeup, let me go and buy it, right? Micro influencers are taking over the consumer market. And so if you have products and services that you need to offer, you got to become your own micro influencer. If you do not want to do it, because I was watching a video, I was up all night watching videos about this whole new system that we're setting up. And this guy, he said he's just about to cross over the $2 million mark, right? I think they did $2 million maybe in the last like 18 months, right, for his company. So I started digging through his profile and just researching this guy, because he wouldn't tell us what company he runs. He was like, nah, it's too many copycats, I'm not telling y'all what I do. He was like, I'm just gonna tell y'all I'm crossing over into the $2 million mark because of the system. He gave us some tips or whatever. So I started digging in and watching videos of him all the way back to 2018. And one of the things that he said in one of his earlier videos, he was like, I am connected to a partner who is the perfect face for our company. They're very charismatic, they draw the crowd in, and they're really good at connecting with our people. He said, I don't do that, I'm behind the scenes, but they do. And he said that's what's bringing in our money, is because people know, like, and trust that partner, because they're the face of the business. And so a lot of times, y'all, even if you don't want to be the face, you better find somebody who is, because micro influencers are converting the sales when they're making the connection points with consumers. And if you think you're just gonna hide behind a computer and just sell stuff, it's that those days are gone. We used to could do that. I've been in this industry for, I don't know, 11, 12 years, 13 years, since 2007, however long that's been. And it used to be days where we can just throw stuff out there and sell. Nobody knew who you was. You might have a picture of something connected to it, and people will buy it. Well, now everybody has something to sell. So unless you are going to connect with your consumer audience, you ain't gonna get the level of cash flow that the micro influencer is, who's on all the dang on time, right? And here's the thing. You don't have to be on all the time sporadically. You be strategic and have your daily method of operation and how you're going to do your production schedule. So those were the things that we talked about today. You have an editorial calendar of, all right, let me record this content, and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z at this certain time, right? You can schedule out your Insta stories, you can schedule out your social media posts, you can schedule out your lives, you can schedule out your video streaming. But if you run a company, y'all, and you want your business to really be able to connect with consumers for brand loyalty, you gotta have a face. It just is what it is. I was against it, and now I'm realizing, like, girl, you can sit back if you want to and think you ain't got to do this. But the chick over there that's smacking while she eating her whatever she eating and doing what she do is making millions of dollars because she has a connection to her consumer audience. So we are officially here. Mr. Bernard got me here safely, and we are about to, I got to get on this plane. But y'all, if you want to make more loops, you better get your video game up. And you have to be fearless. You have to be fearless. So head it on in, right? No shade. Hey, say hey, Mr. Bernard. All right, y'all. So I got to wrap this up. Go get on my flight. And hopefully y'all got some nuggets out of that. All right. See y'all later. Bye.